Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're going to be looking at the Arkham City Play Arts Kai Harley Quinn, or the Play Arts Kai Arkham City, however you want to word it. I don't care, you know what it is. I know what it is, so let's just talk about the figure. She stands just about, she's not quite straight up and down right now, but that's okay because we just need to get a close height measurement, just under 8.5 inches tall, just about the exact same height as Ivy. Equally as impressive, if not better than Ivy. If you guys saw the Ivy review, then you know I like that figure. This one is at least as good as that one. It doesn't come with a ton of stuff, but it does have some accessories. So before we talk about the figure itself, let's talk about the gear. For the fun stuff, let's look at this. Comes with a display stand just like all of the PAK figures. I said that funny. Just like all of the Play Arts Kai figures have been coming with. So right here you can just see how you put the thing together. It has the hinge, the clip thingy that rotates and stuff, and then you have the adjustable upright and the nice acrylic base. Really cool piece. Takes a little bit of work. Comes on the blister card back here. You can tear it off if you want to. You won't be able to see it like that in the package. She has a black blister to hide it. Over here you can see how you swap out the hands. It's just a standard peg. And you can see that she can hold the accessories. It's a good thing they included this, because otherwise I would have just sat them at her feet and just set them there, because this is pretty tricky stuff here. So what you're supposed to do is you take the handle and you put it in her hand. And then you can take the grip, or in this case the magazine, and put it in her hand. So apparently even on the most simple instructions, they're not quite sure what you do with it. But I would have her hold it up here where the hand goes and not down here. Anyway, there's that. Let's get on with the other stuff. So she comes with the bat, which is a pretty cool piece. I like it. It's nice and metallic silver, kind of like a gunmetal. It has dents in it to look like it's an aluminum bat that she's hit a few things with. It has the little candy stripe thing on there. Comes some studs on the top and at the bottom. Pretty cool. This is actually sculpted on the stripe and the stuff. Paintwork could be a little bit better, but I can give them a little leeway on this because I'm sure she didn't buy a baseball bat that looks like this. She probably made it herself, so it's okay. And it's a nice solid piece. It's not flimsy or anything, so it's a good accessory. We have the two guns, made well enough. And in case you weren't paying attention earlier, this is not where the hand goes. You want to put the hand up here in this general vicinity. And then we have some alternate hands. These are the two relaxed hands. They don't have any particular function. The fingers are individually sculpted on both, so that's a nice touch. As you can see, the nails are painted, the gloves are painted. Really nice job. That's sculpted too, by the way, the little diamond pattern. They did a really good job on the hands. So that's cool. And then she has a gun hand on either side, which is also the hand you have to use to hold the bat, which works fine because it looks good and it works. So no problem there. And just one more time to make sure everybody's paying attention. Holding it like this is wrong. She can't even really do it. You want to put the pistol, or the gun, it's like a machine gun pistol, Uzi, whatever you want to call it, Tech 9, I don't know. I'm not up to date on these kind of guns. Anyway, she holds it really well once you actually put it where it belongs. It fits in the hand nicely. Trigger and everything, so that's good. And I guess I'll show you the bat real quick while we're here, because that's a little bit more of a fun display piece. Why isn't she holding that now? She held it earlier, I promise. Maybe it's only in the one hand. It might be on the left hand only, because that hand has a tighter grip. So she can hold it just fine there. I don't know if mine just is defective or what, but she holds it on one hand, so that's okay. Good enough at least. Alright, let's get all this stuff out of the way and talk about the figure. Okay, paints. Let's talk about paints first. And I know this isn't technically paint work, but the detail work for her tattoos is considerably well done. I know it's not actually paint work, but it is perfect. If I could hold my hand steadier, you'd be able to see it a little bit better. But they did a really good job with that. And then also for her other tattoo where it has the Joker, they did a really good job with that. And then the rest of the paintwork is standard good quality. You know, all the little studs and buckles and things are painted. Of course, with the naked eye, you're not going to notice as many little imperfections as you will with the camera zoomed in super tight. But you can see that there's shading throughout, that the leather parts are painted to look like leather, and then she's got like this metallic part on here. I guess that's obviously, or probably supposed to be leather also, maybe. Yeah, it looks like it's just seam work for the clothes, but it is metallic and it looks cool that way. And the face paint is just as good as Ivy's. If you look at the eyes, we'll get in nice and tight so you can see. Hopefully it'll focus. Come on, camera. There you go. Are we focused? I think we are. Alright, so yeah, you can see the paintwork on the face is done really well. And of course it looks even better in person because you don't see the little blemishes like on her right eye where there's a little extra white. You don't even really notice that in person, and that's going to be different from figure to figure. The front part of the hair is an extra piece, so there's not going to be any paint issues with that. The back part of the hair is sculpted on, but you can't really see the hairline, so there's no paint issues there really, just a couple little ones. The pigtails are separate pieces, so those are posable, and they are painted fairly well. Nicely sculpted, kind of soft plastic, but not too soft. So the head's good. The sculpt isn't necessarily 100% accurate, but it's definitely good enough, and it doesn't look bad, so I am definitely okay with it. The sculpt everywhere else is really good. They did a particularly good job sculpting the figure in general. You can see the little ties there and buckles, the wrinkles in the leather, and it looks really good. There's different textures throughout the leather. Really nothing to complain about. All of these things are raised up, embossed. Looks good. Alright, articulation wise, the head, similar to the other Harley Quinn or Catwoman head, it doesn't sit up quite as high as some of the other heads do, but you still get a pretty good range of motion. Really, definitely enough, I think, and you don't see the neck peg as much unless you really try to, so that's okay by me. The shoulders have the butterfly joint with the ball disc on top, or ball hinge on top of that. The bicep swivel comes right at the seam of the clothes, so you really can't see it, which is good. There's much articulation that can be hidden. It really is, I didn't say that right at all, but the articulation's hidden well on this figure. So you have the bicep swivel right there, and then you have the ball hinge, ratcheted ball hinge that spins on the bicep swivel actually. It ratchets obviously, and then it spins in the forearm as well. So really tons of posability there. Would have liked to see a little bit better range of motion, but it's good enough. And then you have the same type of joint as the elbow in the wrist. It's slightly different design, but it's the same thing. It spins at the wrist, or at the forearm, at the hand, and then it's ratcheted. Both of my wrists are extremely tight on this figure. I had to use a knife to pry the joints apart just for me to be able to use them at all, and they're still dangerously tight, so be very careful when using those. And the interchangeability is fine though, they just slide right off. Not too much of a problem there. The upper torso articulation happens right here, and it's pretty good range of motion. Not as much as it could have been, but it also is hidden really well because no matter how you pose it, the sculpt hides the articulation. So it's still pretty good. It's double ball peg, and then the rotation on it is also really good. And then the lower torso, just like all the Play Arts figures, is connected on a standard ball peg that's in there. It's going up into the torso, and that rotates all the way around on there. However you want to. Note that the hips go up pretty high, so if you have it posed in a certain way, this edge of the torso will hit the hip, and that'll keep it from moving, but you can adjust that, and you can get it to go like right now. It's clipping the hip over here, so I can't get it to go down any farther, but it still will work, and it rotates and hinges and does everything you want it to do. And as I said, the paint work on that is really well done. And they even put her underwear on there. So if you do pose her like that, you can see her thong. So that's for all you guys out there who want to look at plastic thongs. This is the figure for you. There's some plastic thong right there. And then this piece is separate from everything else. It's soft material. It doesn't float and get all bulky like some of the older diaper style ones. It actually fits the figure really well. And they did a really good job with it. The hips are ratcheted side to side and front to back. And they work really well. The sculpt looks great throughout, even when it's posed and you have a good range of motion. I didn't even force it, and I can go higher if I want to. It's just amazing how good they're getting at making these figures. And then the thigh does rotate around that peg. It's just a little bit, but it does do it. The knee on this figure is pretty well done. It's nicely hidden in most standing poses, and even when it's bent, it's not too bad because she's got a skinnier design, so it doesn't stand out as being an ugly knee joint. So that's really good. It's double hinged. The ankle is the same as the wrists or the elbows. It has the swivel at the leg and in the foot. This time the swivel does go straight down, the peg goes straight down, so there's not much of an ankle rocker. I mean, it's just a tiny bit of an angle, so the ankle rocker is going to have to really come from spinning that joint sideways, like that, which is fine. It doesn't bother me, I like that. And there's actually, they did put the cut joint in here, in her shoe, but you can barely tell it's there. I didn't even notice at first, and it's pretty useless, so I would just put it where it belongs and leave it there, especially on a shoe like that. And which is something else I should point out. The soles of her feet are very small, so posing her and getting her to balance is going to be a little bit tricky. So use a display stand or be very patient and find a good balance, because you're not just going to be able to pose her in midair and then stand her down and be done. You're going to have to spend at least a minute or two to get her balanced. I probably won't even be able to do it right now. Let's see. And it will take a shelf dive. So she's just barely balanced right now, and she's just standing straight up and down, so be careful. But there really is nothing to complain about on this figure. I mean, there's nothing I can think of that I don't really like about it. They did such a good job making it, so I'm going to say go buy it. If you have any inkling at all as to wanting to buy it, go do it. It's a great figure, great Batman character, great line of figures. There's really nothing other than the price tag, but even then, you won't be disappointed. So go get it, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews. If you didn't already, check out the Poison Ivy review. And in the meantime, keep collecting.